All right, God bless everybody. First off, I want to say Happy Father's Day. Hey! All right. Well, the topic today is deeper than a goal. Now, very few people, products, or companies have become household names. And the ones that have left an impression on society always stayed true to what they believed, always circled back to their purpose, and never lost sight of their why. You know, Hebrews 11:1 and 2 from the TPT says, "Now faith brings our hopes into reality and becomes the foundation needed to acquire the things we long for. It is all the evidence required to prove what is still unseen. This testimony of faith is what previous generations were commended for." See, God noticed and people noticed. And when we believe, people should notice, and God will take notice. And whatever faith is, where it talks about faith is, you can call it believing or conviction or purpose. It's called by God as being the foundation needed to acquire the things we long for. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is so many people set goals, they have vision, they know what they want, yet they don't reach it. And it becomes a habit of not reaching what they want. So there has to be a system. I'm just going to show you a little tweak to believing that might help you today. So, what do you long for? What do you really want to acquire? What do you really want to accomplish in the next few years or days? What do you want to do with the rest of the time you have on this earth, living out your particular dream? What do you really want to do? Well, the first step, the foundation, must be able to answer the simple question, why do we do what we do? Anything you want in life, that should be one of the first, you should be able to answer that question. Why do we believe what we believe? Why do we want what we want? And here's a list of people who didn't set out to be famous, but they became legendary because they never lost sight of why they were doing what they were doing. Call it belief, call it purpose, vision, or calling, I don't care. So answer me this, what image, what feeling goes off in your heads when I mention the name Jesus? Moses, David and Goliath. What about the Wright brothers? Isaac Newton, Cleopatra, Christopher Columbus, Einstein, George Washington, Florence Nightingale, Julius Caesar, Helen Keller, Martin Luther King Jr., William Shakespeare, Napoleon Bonaparte, Amelia Earhart, Thomas Edison, Beethoven, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, or the Flintstones. Well, aside from the Flintstones, these people didn't just do something amazing. These people stayed true to the underlying reason for their success. They always stayed true to their deeply held belief. People noticed, the world noticed, and the Creator noticed. Now let's uncover the root of their success. Let's try to see how we too can find a way to reach our dreams. Now remember, if you just keep trying, and you keep hitting the ceiling, keep hitting the wall, and you can't get past that, then it's got to be a belief problem. It's not so much a vision problem. We all know what we want. But getting there isn't always clear. But to these people, nothing stopped them. Let's see if we too can attract the attention of God and acquire the things that we long for. Rooted in why. This first step to receiving consistently is far more than just maintaining a vivid mind picture of that thing that you want, that job, that car, that dream vacation, or a big bank account. This is a step beyond your vision board. This is far beyond your goal sheet. Now, this first step is why the people I mentioned previously reach their goals, maybe even beyond their goals. This is why they crossed oceans, conquered diseases, challenged a religion, or changed society. Sure, a clear mind picture is necessary to maintain direction, but for that dream to become tangible, it must be rooted, integrated, and tangled in with our belief system. Why do I want to conquer a new land? Why do I want to prosper? Why do I want to believe? Why do I believe what I believe? You see, these guys had to answer that for them to be able to do the things that they did. It's deeply rooted purpose. This deeply rooted purpose is what brings into evidence what is unseen. Hebrews 11 again. Whatever that deeply rooted evidence is what's going to cause you to be a success. And it's more than just a vision board. It's more than a goal that you wrote down on New Year's Eve. You see, this faith, this believing thing, this personal purpose is much harder than it seems. Why do we want that car? Why do you want that job? Why do you want to go on that vacation or make more money? Why? Can you answer why? And if that why is rooted in your belief system, then there's nothing that can stop you. Because when you believe, you receive. That's why we need to learn to tie our goals into a belief system. And that's not easy to do, folks, or everybody would be doing it. Why is there just a handful of people, 100 or 200 people that almost every household in America or in the world knows about? Because those people figured it out. They had a vision. They had a vision, but they had the belief to go along with that vision. See, we know what we want. We can picture it. We may even have pictures placed around our house to remind us of our dream. You've seen people do that, right? They cut out a picture of a skinny person, they stick their head on it. I've been in a lot of houses where people have done that. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that vision's bad. I'm just saying it has to be tied to a belief. It has to be tied to a belief. The reason so many people don't reach their goals, don't hold on to their hopes and dreams is because they have not yet rooted them, integrated them into their belief systems. You know, in a book called Start With Why, Simon Sinek said, quote, "When most organizations or people think, act, or communicate, they do so from the outside in, from what to why. And for good reason. They go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. What we say, what we do, we sometimes say how we do it, but rarely do we say why we do what we do." End of quote. You know, why do you do what you do? You know, we can all picture what we want, but if we're not getting there, then it's something wrong. It's the why is the problem. See, a fuzzy belief gets fuzzy results. We all know that. But how do you build a belief system? How do you tie your dream, your goal, your desire to a belief system? That's how you're going to receive it. And some of you have it figured out in your jobs. You do it because your family. You believe deeply in your family. You believe deeply in your employees. You believe deeply in something. I want to support this group, this charity, this thing. You have that money so you can do whatever. It's tied to a belief. But we don't want it to be fuzzy. It's easy to picture the final outcome, but it's far harder to build a belief system. Your belief system is your why. Your belief system is your why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why do you want that truck? You see, why do you want that vacation? You see, it's going to be a lot easier to get there if it's tied to a belief. As Paul said in Hebrews 11, belief is the foundation needed to acquire the things we long for. Belief is the foundation needed to acquire the things that we longed for. What do you long for? Well, it takes belief. It has to be tied to a belief. That's the whole point of this teaching. Is your desires, or are your desires tied to a belief? What is your deeper purpose? What is that deep purpose of heart? What's the purpose behind your desire? And I know I've fallen short on this. You know, I've got all the mind pictures. I've written all my goals. You know, but what happens if it's just written on a piece of paper and it's not tied to a reason, a purpose? You know, then we're going to typically not reach that. You know, this is the foundation we read about in Hebrews 11. This is what the world notices and God takes note of. You know, what do you really believe about what you want or want to do? The taproot of what you want must be rooted in a specific belief. Proverbs 23:7 says, "For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he." Isn't your heart, isn't that the inner part of your being? Isn't that where your believing is supposed to emanate from? Not your physical beating heart, but the heart of your mind, the heart of your soul, the heart of who you are. That's where belief is. For as he thinks in his heart, so is he. It's not just a fleeting thought, it's a belief. If you believe you are, you are. If you believe you have, you have. Why do so many people tattoo corporate logos onto their body? Now think about it. It seems ridiculous to some, but it seems totally normal to others. I mean, people who go into the U.S. Marine Corps, they're proud to wear that tattoo, are they not? Yeah, that's a corporate tattoo. You don't see as many Air Force guys with Air Force tattoos, though there are some, you see. But because there's something behind that. There's an ethos behind that. What about the Nike swoosh that you see on people's legs when they run? Why would you do that? Well, you believe in what that represents. The Playboy bunny, you don't see it much anymore, but used to see women with that right at the small of their back or somewhere. You see? I mean, it's because it was an ethos. It was a belief. You know, they felt like they fit in with that. What about Harley Davidson? Probably the most tattooed logo in history on people's bodies. People who don't even own Harleys tattoo a Harley Davidson. Why? Because they feel like they believe in the cause of that. They believe in the ethos. They believe in what it stands for. I'm a rebel. You know, if you see a guy with Harley tattoos all over him, short sleeves, walking into a bar, that's a different thing than if you see somebody with Tweety Bird on, right? It means something totally different. You get it? So that's what I'm saying. People tattoo what they believe because they understand it. Well, God has us tattooed on the palms of his hands. Figuratively speaking. God thinks about you all day long. He relates with you. We'll get to a cool verse in a little bit where it says that he exists for us. See, people do this not because they believe in the product so much, but it's because they believe in the system. They connect with the ethos. They feel what the company feels. They feel what it's supposed to mean. Like Apple. You know, people are proud to open their little Apple computer at the airport. You see, and people notice that. Nobody notices an HP. Why? Because Apple has a certain ethos built into it, right? You're a rebel. You're an outsider. You think differently than the group. You see? So that's a belief system. That's my whole point. What is your belief system regarding your goal? If it's like a tattoo, if it's just tattooed to your heart, you're going to get it, folks. If you really, 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 really believe something, you don't need a photograph. You've already etched that image into your heart. But if it's not there yet, then maybe that photograph is going to help you get it there. Again, I'm not against photos. I'm not against cutting out an image. I think it's great. I'm just saying that that's just a part of it. It's got to be a belief. Now adopt a vision. You've got to have a vision, but how do you adopt this? You know, we are what we think about all day long. You know, we produce what we think about all day long. We think what we believe. You know, our believing doesn't just affect us. We inspire others with our deeply held belief. That's why you all are leaders. You have employees. You have people in your networking group. You have people who love you. You have family members. There's people who follow you. It's because of what you believe. It's because of the tale of your ethics. It's that deep-rooted thing that people love about you. That's who you are. You're exactly who you believe you are. And the cool thing is we can change. We can get better. If we're not what we want, we can get better. See, our believing affects and inspires other people. The stronger our belief, the stronger our conviction, the stronger will be the pull. Our belief is why we do what we do. During the late 18th century, in the Battle of Toulon, France, there was one set of heavy guns placed in a very exposed position. And the enemy had easy access to bombarding this thing. Nobody, no soldiers wanted to volunteer to man those guns. So at times they sat vacant because it was such a dangerous assignment. But Napoleon Bonaparte, no fool, and a genius in getting others to adopt his vision and to do things they wouldn't normally do, had a sign erected near that exposed position. And the placard simply read, "The Battery of Fearless Men." Napoleon never lacked volunteer gunners after the confidence-inspiring sign was erected on that spot. The Battery of Fearless Men got men to risk their lives to be there because they could relate with his believing. They tied on to his ethics. They tied themselves to his vision. He was a master at doing that. You see, why did it work? Napoleon got his men thinking differently about themselves and the overall mission of France. Their life became more than just them. It became France. It became Napoleon's vision for France. You see, they adopted his vision because his vision was a belief. And belief breeds success. Belief pulls the image believed in you. It just pulls it. It'll pull people towards you. It'll pull that thing that you're desiring towards you. It'll pull that vacation towards you because you're moving toward that vacation. Whatever it is, tie it to a belief. See, Napoleon and his men totally believed they would win because his belief was infectious. Is what you believe infectious? Does it inspire other people to do what you do? You see, Napoleon fought 60 battles in his time, and he only lost 8. That's pretty good odds. Habakkuk 2:2. And the Lord answered me and said, "Write the vision and make it plain upon the tables, that he may run that readeth it." You know, write the vision, make it plain. You know, so somebody can run if they read it. Well, you want them to run with your vision. God wants us to run with his vision. The whole Bible's full of vision. It's full of a belief system. And if we can tie into God's belief system, oh my gosh, there is nothing that we can't do. No good thing will he withhold if we can just walk uprightly according to his word. See, this works for any human on earth though, Christian and non-Christian. Make your vision so clear, so plain, so much a part of you that even others are going to run with it. Even others are going to follow you. Even others are going to run with you. They're going to want to go on that vacation with you. They're going to want to ride in your truck. They're going to want to work for you. Some of you I would be proud to work with. And I wish I could. I wish I could work with all of you. Because I'd learn something. It'd make me a better man. You see, so how does this apply to us? Well, ask yourself, why do I do the work that I do? You know, is my why bigger than my why not? Is my why bigger than my why not? My gosh, we talk ourselves out of things all the time. Oh, you know, they're probably going to, if I make this other business call, if I knock on this door, go into this business, you know, maybe they're going to say no. Well, maybe they're going to say yes. Right? Maybe they're going to say yes. If I talk to the employee, they may get really mad at me and they may quit. Well, maybe they'll say thank you for the correction. You know, thank you. I'm a little bit better now. And that sounds ridiculous, but you get the point, you see. I mean, so ask yourself, why do I do the work that I do? You know, are you in a job that you don't particularly like? Well, it may help you find a deeper reason of why you need that money. Now, maybe you don't like your job. Maybe you don't like a certain job within your job. If you're a contractor, that's going to happen, right? You see? So why am I doing this? Because I want to bring in money to help my family. I want to bring in money to help some charity. I want to bring in money to help my employees. I have to bring in money to help my employees. I believe I can bring in money to help my employees. So you don't like that job. But you got to find what it's tied to. You're in that for some reason. So believe. Stop complaining about the girl who sits next to you in the next cubicle and is always talking on her phone. What good's it do? You know, just be thankful that you have a job and somebody can sit next to you. You see, you get the point. Just, you know, just trade a negative for a positive, and eventually it'll become a belief. You know, God's given us many words worth building a life around. See, we can change a family. We can help a community. We can change the world, if it's just a little bit. You know, Habakkuk 2:3 from the GW. The vision will still happen at the appointed time. It hurries toward its goal. It won't be a lie. See, the vision's going to happen at the appointed time. It's going to hurry toward its goal because you're hurrying towards your goal. It's how God set us up. The reason some of those people I mentioned earlier, Moses, Jesus, you know, Paul, all these guys, the reason they did it, their vision was deeper than their own life. It was bigger than themselves. And that can't help it spread. My God, how did some of these horrible dictators have a whole country follow them? They believed in their vision. They believed. Now, it wasn't a good belief. It wasn't for the betterment of mankind, but it's still believing. They totally believed in their goal. I'm not going to name any names. You have pictures flying through your heads already. So, a vision that's a belief will absolutely happen exactly when it needs to happen. When you need that new truck, it's going to be there. When you need that new account, it has to be there. If you're believing, it has to. It has to. Luke 6:45 says, "A good man out of the good treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is good. And an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is evil. For of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaketh." See, our great treasure are our thoughts and the beliefs that we hold. That's our greatest treasure. And nobody can take those from you unless you allow theirs to override yours, right? We've all been sucked into some stupid scheme. Somebody talked us into something, you see. But the point is we allowed their words, their belief to overpower ours. You see, don't want to do that too often. Okay? You want to be your own person. See, God's pretty good at inspiring us to adopt His vision. Look at this verse, Exodus 3:14. And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And He said, Thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, I am has sent me unto you. Children of Israel wondered who God was. What's His name? What does He do? They had sort of lost sight of it. They had sort of integrated into the belief system of the Egyptians. And then Moses said, well, what do I tell them, God? What do I tell them? How do I explain you? Well, the Hebrew word for I am is Haya. Sound like a Wild West. Haya! You see, which means to be, to become, to come to pass, or to exist. What is it saying here? What it's saying here is that God exists for us. Now that's sort of a bold statement. That's cocky. But that's the kind of cocky God wants you to have. God exists for you. God's saying, I will be whatever you need me to be. What do you need? You need healing? That's me. You need protection? That's my job. You see, you need finances raised a little bit? Hey, I'm a guy who can prosper you. I mean, God will be what we need Him to be. God exists for us. Talk about words to live by. Talk about words to set your believing on. My God, why would we ever have a low opinion of ourselves? If God exists for you, if God will be whatever we need Him to be. I mean, should we even ever have lack? Well, the answer is no, but we do because we allow someone else's believing to overpower ours. See, God, the creator of the universe, exists for you and me. Gosh, they're still trying to figure out this universe. We can just see a little piece of it. They keep finding more animals, different frogs, different fish. They keep finding more and more. And God, how long have our scientists been looking at things? They find different variations, different species, different versions of those species. It's craziness. Are they changing, or just have we not seen them? I don't know. God exists for us. That makes it easier to see why He said He will supply all our needs. He wishes for us to have health and prosperity. That He's going to withhold nothing good from us. That we have access to more than we can even imagine. Ephesians 3:20 from the Amplified. This is almost mind-boggling. In fact, this is, but shouldn't be. Now to Him who is able to carry out His purpose and do super abundantly more than all that we dare ask or think, infinitely beyond our greatest prayers, hopes, or dreams, according to His power that is at work within us. God can do super abundantly more than we dare ask or think or pray. So we can actually have, if you're a Christian, more than you can believe for. If we're not seeing that, then we're not tying into that power that's at work within us. That's what this is saying. Now, I'm not teaching that this week about the power within, but we have it. Not everybody does. Everybody has power, but not everybody has that power of that Spirit of God that this is talking about in Ephesians 3:20. You see, we can have infinitely beyond what we pray, hope, or dream. Just imagine, that's what God wants us to have. And He exists for us. So we have to just get our believing, our goals to the point where they fit with our believing. Because of the Spirit of God that we each have, we have access to not just our believing goals, not just our deeply rooted convictions. We've been promised that He will supply super abundantly more than we even dare to ask, think, or hope for, or pray about, or even dream. How big is that? Pretty big. How great is that? Pretty great. Do you believe it? Do you really believe that God can do more than you can even think about? More than your expectation? More than your prayers? And you pray for stuff every day. Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision, the people perish. See, without a deep-rooted vision, we're going to perish. Our dreams will perish. They're just going to come to nothing. The Hebrew synonyms for the word perish are to be exposed. To be dismissed outright. Just waved off. To be naked. To be naked. It means to go back to your old worn ways. Imagine if you were standing up in front of a crowd and your clothes were just instantly pulled off. A little kid wouldn't care. We would and should, But the point is we're going to go back to our old ways if we don't have vision. We have to have vision. We're going to find great success as we adopt the vision of God and of other great men and women. We are what we think about all day long. We produce what we think about all day long. We think about what we believe all day long. Is it good or is it bad? Only you know what you think about. If you were told that you were no good your whole life as a child, that's a big hurdle to overcome. If you were picked on and bullied in junior high or high school, by the other girls, or other guys, it's hard to break past that point. And people have all kinds of problems because of these things. It's because their belief wasn't rooted deep enough. We can change our belief system. Our belief is why we do what we do. The stronger our belief, the stronger our conviction, the stronger will be our pull. This deeply rooted vision is our gravity. Your deeply rooted vision, your belief, your conviction, the essence of who you are is your gravity. It's going to pull all the good stuff to you. This is how God designed the human to work. You have to have that belief if you want to receive. It has to be there. Choose a vision you can believe in and adopt it. Maybe you don't have it on your own. We all have words that we love. We heard some preacher, some minister, some self-help guy, some famous person say, and we hang on to those words. And they can save a life. A word. The battery of fearless men. Those guys believed to survive and to save France from people trying to take over it at that time. Ask and you will receive. Now, asking is still a part of vision. It's still a part of your why. Asking is still a part. Why? Why am I asking? Why am I doing the same prayer for the 10,000th day in a row? Why? Ask and you will receive. We learn to streamline our dreams with discussion. See, the reason we pray isn't for God. God isn't deaf. God's not stupid. My wife has to remind me of things all the time, or I will forget. And but the point of it is you don't have to remind God with repeated prayer. Jesus talked about that. It's just, God doesn't need to be reminded like that. The reason, what we're really trying to do is set our believing, is to get ourselves to the point we can believe that I want healing. I am healed. We go through the transition. Please heal me. Am I good enough, to be healed? Am I, do I want it enough? Pretty soon, until I get to the point where I just believe it and receive it. Or prosperity. It's a biggie. Oh, please, God, please, 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 fill my bank account. Realize that's not going to happen. Never has. But God can do a lot of things. God can direct you to go get a new account, get a new job, get a better job, to make more money in your job, to get a raise, to get a certification, whatever it is. You see? Streamline your dreams with discussion. Ira Gasson said, "Be careful of your thoughts. They become words at any moment." Discussion shapes our thoughts and sets our believing. Conversations collate our thoughts. A lot of times I want to talk to Josephine when I'm driving here to teach, and I try to summarize what I'm going to teach, because then it's easier for me to believe in what I'm saying. Now, a lot of times she doesn't want to hear because she's checking something out on Facebook, or answering a text, but I say it anyway. You see? I mean, discussion shapes your thoughts. It can help set a belief. You see, prayer greases the pipeline to our dreams and desires. It doesn't make it go any faster to God. He already knows what you need. Doesn't He know everything? So why does He ask us to ask? He says, you have not because you what? Yeah, James 4:2. You have not because ye ask not. Why does He ask us to ask? Because it's one of the steps toward believing, toward getting it into a belief system, toward a conviction. Just think about Jesus. He's a little kid, cool little kid, perfect little kid, but He wasn't the first perfect kid. Adam and Eve were. Yet they blew it royally. Jesus had no power at all until He was 30 years old. You see? But His parents told Him, "Hey, you're the Christ." Okay. And just think. I mean, what if they had told Him, "You're nothing. You're never going to amount to anything, Jesus." You think He would have been the Christ? I guarantee He would not have been. Unless He had His vision, His inner monologue was deeper and more powerful, and the stream, the undercurrent was a lot more powerful than what His parents and aunts and uncles said. Now, they didn't say bad things, you see, but some of us have a great hurdle. Okay, you have not because ye ask not. You see, talk to God. Discuss with others your needs, your wants, your desires. Asking is powerful, or God wouldn't say to ask. Luke 6:45 says, "Out of the abundance of the heart His mouth speaketh." Out of the abundance of the heart. Again, the heart is where that inner current of who you are resides. That's where all good comes from. That's your gravity. That's what attracts everything to you. People talk about this law of attraction. It's nothing new. God says it in all these different ways. Ask and you shall receive. Asking just sets that current in you. It just sets that gravity. Then the good's going to be pulled to you. A man's gift makes room for him. Doesn't the Bible say that? It's going to put you, and it's going to put you before great people. You see? You want to move up in your business? Then let your gift shine. Let your light so shine before men that they see it. When people can see your belief system, they can see your light, they're going to be attracted to it. Or they're going to hate you. And both are good. Both are good. Basically, a lot of people realize if they're not getting hated on a little bit, they're not doing anything. Don't play safe. Don't hope to ride the bench. Get in the game. See, Oliver Wendell Holmes said, "Carve every word before you let it fall." Now, I need to take heed to that before I shoot my mouth off in traffic to the chagrin of my wife. Come on, Mark. I mean, we all, everybody has their little weakness. But sometimes traffic just drives me crazy. And so I say it. And then it doesn't bless anybody in the car with me. So I'm going to work on changing that. You see? And it'll help, because that's bad. Carve every word before you let it fall. Doesn't the Bible talk about a fitly spoken word is like apples of gold and pitchers of silver? Just let it fit. You want your word to fit with that person. You want whatever you say to add to their life, not subtract, not make them wish they weren't riding in the car with you. You see, our spoken words are the gas gauge of our believing. You know, are we empty or are we full? Your words are going to say it. Especially the ones you roll inside your head and never speak out loud. The ones you'd be ashamed. If you talk to other people the way you talk to yourself, you wouldn't have any friends. It is not fair to you. It is not fair to you, the things. Come on, Mark, you're such a dummy. And if I told you that, it'd hurt your feelings. You idiot, why did you do that? You know, we all do dumb things like that. But these are little conversations. Stop it. Just stop treating yourself so poorly. God exists for you. You're a chosen gem. You're chosen before the foundation of the world to God. God wanted you before there was even people on earth. He chose you. He designed you. He wanted you. You should want you. There's nobody on earth better than you. You're one of the many betters. You see, you are amazing. You see, your gift is necessary. Your light is necessary. The world's craving what you have. You may not be the first to ever fly around the earth. You won't be. You see, you may not make $1 zillion. You see, but you are going to make the impact that you're designed to make if you'll just believe. If you'll just tie your goals to your belief system. Carve every word before you let it fall. Psalm 116:10, I believed, therefore have I spoken. You're going to talk about what you believe. Mark Twain said the difference between the right word and the almost right word is the difference between lightning and the lightning bug. It's a big difference. You know, just a little bit off can be way off. You see, talk about our goals sets them in concrete. Talking about our goals sets them in concrete. Proverbs 11:14, where no counsel is, the people fall. But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. You see, if you need advice, what do? Get advice. If you need a referral, what do? Ask for a referral. Isn't that what every sales book tells you? They tell you to ask for 5. Don't ask for 1, ask for 5. They might give you 3. That's better than 1, right? I mean, just ask. If you need help, ask somebody. I remember when I was 16, I'd left home stupidly. And people actually hired me because back then they didn't check things like they do now. And they thought I was a grown man because I was pretty much the same size I am now with red hair. But one of the many jobs I landed was at a plant that made thick cardboard sheets. And I remember one time I was working this machine. It had these big rollers, and this conveyor would convey this pulp, and over time it would wrap on this big spool, this big spindle, which was about 6 feet long, and then but if it got a bump of stuff stuck on there, then it would look ugly. I mean, then I'd have to throw that piece of cardboard away, and I had a certain amount I was supposed to do every night. I was the only employee at night. I was it. And I had a boss that was straight from Vietnam, had his handlebar mustache, and all he did was sat squatted in the corner all night. So I'm not sure what was going on in his head, you know, but that's what he did. He just squatted all night, smoked his Winstons, you know, and I just worked this machine. Well, one time I thought I would take a chance. I'd flick off this chunk on that roller with my hand instead of stopping the whole process. Next thing I know, I was stuck in the machine. And then the whole machine, I didn't feel like I was in pain, but my arm went right through these rollers and I was stuck in this thing, and it stopped these motors that were as big as this table. You know, they were like 3 feet big, and this belt was just smoking on that thing. And but I wouldn't yell out for help because I was ashamed. And so I sat there stuck in this machine until this guy finally finished his smoke and got off his haunches because he heard the machine squealing in its belt. And then he came over there and hit the stop button. I couldn't. If I was alone without that guy there, I could not have gotten out of it till somebody came in the morning. You see, but I did not. I was too ashamed to ask for help. Stupid, like I said. I was 16, you know. You know, I figured there was going to be some way I was going to get out of there. And all I did is get a bruise. I didn't get any broken bones or anything, so it was pretty good. Snap these cast iron rollers in half, you see. So it might have been God, you know, that protected me at that point, you see. Or I'd just be flat as a piece of paper. Maybe I am. You can't tell on this video. Maybe I am just flat. So, oh, like some people think the earth is still flat, you know, but that's a whole nother subject. So, you know, what it is if you need help, ask for help, folks. Discuss your desire with God and with others until your direction is crystal clear. That's the whole point of prayer, is just to set your mind, set your believing, set your conviction until you get what you want. You see, dream it, discuss it, design it, and you will do it. Now, to wrap this up, I remind you that just because you hold a vision, a clear image, doesn't mean squat if it's not tied to your belief system. We've sort of been taught a bill of goods on that, to sell books and stuff. You see, there's more than that. It's deeper. It's when that vision becomes a belief or is tied with a belief that you receive. That vision is your target, but believing is your why. Why do I do what I do? Your why is your belief system. The reason so many people don't reach their lofty goals is because they don't yet have them rooted in their belief system. They can see them, but they're seldom going to touch them until they're fully convinced it's going to happen. Talking about things helps us get convinced. That's why God says to ask. That's why we have a mouth. That's why we have friends. You know, George Washington, didn't he talk to a handful of people about starting a new country? You see? And this would require thousands of people to ride on his vision. Some even had to be willing to give up their lives. But it was two people at one time that said, I don't like, you know, the administration we're under. You know, I want to change. And then it spread and it spread and it spread and it made a movement, you see, till it was a belief. We're going to have our own country. And they beat the most powerful country in the world. It all started with one person. 2, then 3, then 10, then 1,000. You see, they caught the vision and they shared his belief, and now we have this thing we call the United States. And Michelangelo, he would look at a block of marble and be able to picture some kind of a sculpture, some kind of a statue inside that block. He believed. He saw it. It was crystal clear to him what he wanted. Amelia Earhart became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. She was the first person, man or woman, to fly solo from Hawaii to the U.S. mainland. She believed she was born to fly, so what did she do? She flew. Napoleon won far more than he lost. Columbus talked a queen who was not even from his country, who's from another country, into financing his trip across the ocean into the unknown. What would that have cost? We live in an advanced vision of his dream today in this great country. We believe a little bit. We're living a little bit of his belief, his conviction. It's sort of crazy, folks. You've been doing this your whole life. But if you keep hitting a ceiling, you keep hitting a barrier, keep hitting a wall, it's the universe telling you that your goal needs to be tied to your deepest belief. That's all it's telling you. If you keep hitting a boundary and you can't get out of it, it just means that your goals aren't tied to a belief system. Because when you believe, what happens? You receive. So find a way to tie your goals to your beliefs. I'm making this money now so I can help my family, support a cause or two, prove that God supplies the need. Whatever your belief is. I drive this car or truck because I believe it will help me. You fill in the blank. See, Hebrews 11, 1 and 2 again, and I'm going to close with this. Now faith brings our hopes into reality and becomes the foundation needed to acquire the things we long for. It is all the evidence required to prove what is still unseen. This testimony of faith is what previous generations were commended for. See, God notices you, folks. God exists for you, folks. God's already supplied all your need, and it's because you believe. You are the greatest people on earth. God designed you to be great. When our goal is etched deeply into our belief system and we realize that it's deeper than a goal, that's when we're going to receive. God bless you all.